which brings me to a very important point that you talk about, and which is AI with decision making with AI. The real challenge of taking decisions with AI is we still have to get about the nuanced introspection that humans go through, or the fact that there's a bit of transparency, and there's a depth of consciousness that you talk about, right? Which is really something that as humans we go through. So that kind of data never gets captured in an organization, and everything is around how the data is captured in a structured form in some systems, but not in the way, probably the way internet captured it, and therefore you were able to build models. So if I were an organization, would you think the way I should be looking at AI is, how do I capture the context, as you call it? Because context capturing requires a new data model, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a very interesting question about AI for decision making. So
Yeah.
let me use a slightly different example, right? And I actually, was at a company recently where this came up, where I was talking to some of the managers about how are you thinking about using AI and generative AI in your business. And, this gentleman happened to mention, we're trying to address our pain points. And I said, well, what are those pain points? And he said, well, for example, reviewing a complex 1,000-page legal contract. That's complicated. It takes a human a long time. And I thought that was a really interesting example of interesting use case of AI, because the question really is the following, which is, if you get an AI to process that really complex legal contract, are you willing to trust it? Right? Are you willing to trust its decisions about that it's okay or not? The not is probably a little bit easier because it'll flag it for you and you can tell whether you agree with it or not. But what if about all those things where it said it was okay and it didn't even flag them for you?
Yeah.
Would you trust it completely? And at the moment we don't, right? Because we just have this sort of lingering feeling that it might have missed it. It might have missed some important clause. And so we'd have a human go through the thing again anyway, right? And then, so the question is like, so what did I gain by using the AI if a human had to go through it anyway?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I gained something in efficiency. I don't know. Maybe I gained something in terms of accuracy. I don't know. But that's the problem right now, is we just don't know, because there haven't been enough evaluations done of the technology, like in use in the wild, right? So at the moment, there's a lot of excitement with, hey, look what I can do. Look, man, no hands. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Yeah, you can do that. But is it going to make things better? And how, right? And those are the biggest sort of unanswered questions. Now, it's easy for me to say this, but it's very difficult in practice for organizations to do it, because, businesses are not in the business of doing science. They're in the business of making money.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's only so much scientific experimentation they can do.
True.
Or A/B tests, right? So they have to pick these tests very carefully. Right, because they involve cost.
Yeah.
Right? So evaluating AI is not a costless exercise, but it's necessary in order to be able to understand where you can use it.
So which brings me
so I guess to sort of bring it full circle, I'd say ideally we want AI to be such that we just use it without regard to its mistakes, right? That we know it'll make mistakes, but we say that's still okay, right?
Yeah.
Just like we do with humans, right? We use humans
Exactly.
knowing that humans will make mistakes, but we say that's okay, right?
Yeah.
You will make mistakes, right? So that's the equivalent scenario we need in AI. Is we have a machine, you have a human. You know what? We're better off with using the machine even with the mistakes it makes.
Yeah.
That's the ideal scenario.
So it's almost like a world where there's a human AI collaboration, right? That's really how the world would change slowly, where I have my assistant, some directions are being given by my AI assistant. I then take those decisions, but then I apply my context on top of whatever knowledge that I have, and therefore this whole ability to work with AI and humans and collaborate intuitively is something that we need to get ready for.
Exactly. And it'll probably happen in phases where, let's say you tell the machine, hey, generate me a marketing plan for this new client. Here are the specifics of the client, use prior engagement information, and generate me a business plan or a proposal, right? And the machine will do it for you, but you as the specialist now still need to go and tweak it and look at it and everything, right? That's fine. Now imagine where you get to a point where you don't even need to do that, right? That it gets so good that you just trust it, right? Or you've got to do like very little work, right? And then you get to the point where it just is so good that you just trust it anyway. So we'll probably see that trajectory of adoption. It's what I call sort of the automation frontier, where things go from being purely manual to being mostly automated, but you still need the human in the loop, and then it becomes so good that it makes fewer mistakes and they tend to be not that serious. So you say, well, let the machine just do everything.